So the Quicksilver Pro at Snapper is over, and we move down the coast now for the next stop of the tour to Bells Beach. Bells Beach will run from 24th of March until the 5th of April, and here are my fancy surf tips to help you do the best. So the first thing you need to do before picking any fancy surfer team is check out the venue and check the surf. Bells is a point break, it's a right hand point break, different to normal Snapper, but not a million miles from the Snapper that we surfed this year. So there might be a lot of surfers, if you've had a team in the first event, that you can carry over, especially ones that performed well and you think might be going to do well at Bells as well. I've looked at the forecast for this event. I'm not familiar locally with the spot, but certainly on the long-term forecast there doesn't look like there's going to be anything brilliant. Similar to Snapper, there's going to be surf, which is great. We're not going to be grovelling away in 2 foot knee-high rubbish, but it doesn't look like there's going to be anything absolutely mind-blowing, which kind of makes picking your fantasy surfer team that bit harder, because it gives the lower the wildcards and the rookies a chance against some of the bigger competitors that seem to lose motivation, and also that the rookies and the wildcards are used to surfing in the smaller surf on the QS. So bear that in mind when you're picking your team. But if I had to pick with no spending cap, no categories, just my top 8 across the board. Obviously you won't be able to pick these 8 probably, because you're not going to have enough money on the Surfing Mag version, or they'll be in different categories on the World Surf League version. But if you can integrate any of these into team, they'd be my top picks. My first pick is Adrianza Souza. He's got a really good track record at Bells. He's not finished lower than the quarters since 2013. He's finalled twice since then, and I think he showed at Snapper that he's still got his form from last year. Second, Mick Fanning, the joint winningest surfer at Bells. He's won it 4 times and he's finalled twice in addition to those times that he's won. One not to miss from your team. Number 3, the person Mick is joined with, Kelly Slater, has a brilliant track record at Bells. He's also won it 4 times, but he's only came runner-up once to Mick's 2. He's not quite on form at the moment, but he usually puts in a good performance at Bells anyway. Number 4, Jordy Smith. Didn't put the best showing on at Snapper, but he never does, and he's got quite a good record at Bells. Again, the right hand point break, I expect him to do well. He always seems to have a slow start and seems to pick it up, build from there. John Florence. His performance at Snapper was brilliant. He's come back this year, you can tell he's got a total different mindset and means business. His track record at Bells, he didn't do great in 2015. He had a semi-final placing in 14 and was injured in 13, so there's not an awful lot to go on there, but I just think his attitude and mindset this year and the way he was at Snapper are a good sign of things to come, and certainly for the price he is in the Surfer Mag fantasy, I think he's a great pick for anyone's team. Joel Parkinson, Mr. Consistency at any event. He's won the event 3 times, he's finalled a couple more in addition to those, definitely a pick. My 7th pick is Nat Young. He's put on good form since 2013, 2015. Didn't do so well in 2014, but I think he seems to have really good grip of the wave. Surfs it really well for a backhander. And Bells is a knacky wave. There's a lot of the pros talk about having to bottom turn in a different place. I think Nat just seems to have got the knack of that and can do it well. I expect him to put in a good result. And finally, Stuart Kennedy. After his performance at Snapper Rocks, I think if you need any justification for my selection, go back and watch the heat analyzer for the Snapper contest and watch how well Stuart surfed on a right hand point break. His boards absolutely fly, and I just think the style's going to suit him really well. I tried to look back at some previous results he's had there, and I think he's done quite well in some junior contests as well in the past, so certainly not a bad option for your team. Who to avoid? First of all, I'd be avoiding Michel Perez. He's not made it past round 2 since 2011, so despite him having a style you'd really think would be good at Bells, as I said previously, it's quite a knacky wave and it just seems like he doesn't have the knack. Secondly, Julian Wilson I think is one to avoid. He's not got any good results at Bells, and his performance at Snapper to me suggests that he's not quite on the form he should be. My outsider to watch is Sebastian Zietz. He's never made it past round 3 at Bells, but he's never been totally decimated by somebody either and made to look like he's not put on a good heat. They've usually been quite close heats. I think the performance he put on at Snapper justifies selection for the team. Now he's not actually a member of the tour and he's going to be stepping in for Philippe, who's injured. I think he's got a new sort of sense of relaxedness in his surfing. He doesn't seem as under pressure and just seems to be sticking those manoeuvres, which he wasn't doing when he was actually on the tour. So as I said, those are my top picks. They're not necessarily going to be all ones you can choose. It's actually highly unlikely that you're going to be able to get them all within the salary cap or within the relevant sections of your fantasy team. So here is my actual team that I'm picking. So here's my team from the last event. It's obviously dropped the alternate surfer and left me with the rest of the team that I've got. None of my surfers were injured, so I could keep them all, but you'll see from the list I gave previously that some of the guys in there I'm maybe not going to want to keep. In this instance I'm going to drop Julian Wilson and Miguel Pupo and Kiowa Belli. I'm going to replace them with Adrianza Souza, Stuart Kennedy and Sebastian Zietz, and lock in my team like that. For the alternate, it's rare that you end up having to rely on your alternate, so I maybe don't give it as much attention as I maybe should do. I think in this instance I'm going to go for Matt Bunting. He actually put in a fairly good performance there last year, so that's my Fancy Surfer Surfer Mag team. That's my WSL team. Let's go to the computer again, I'll show you what that looks like. I've already locked it in, just because it was a bit more thinking because of the way I'd picked the surfers out and they fell into different categories. I didn't want it to be loads of dead time, but I've gone for Adrianza Souza, super consistent. No one puts in a good result at most breaks. Joel Parkinson, again, pretty similar, consistent, good run at bells. Kelly, not surfing great at the moment, but I'm going to risk it with him. He usually puts in a good result at bells. Taj, it's strange for him to be in this second tier. Seemed pretty good at bells, I thought. Snapper has a good history at bells. Mick, super consistent at bells in the past. Again, in the second tier, why not? Nat Young, great history in 2 of the 3 events he's had there. Geordie Smith in the bottom tier I think is an absolute steal to get in there. Great on right hand point breaks, normally good at bells. Matt Bunting, a bit more of a risk, but I thought most of the other guys in that category were. Matt did have a good result there last year before getting injured, so yeah, they're my teams. If you have any picks or suggestions of your own, pop them in the comments below. If you think I've missed anything, again, pop it in the comments below. If you like this video and would like to see more, press subscribe because I'll be doing an update before each event, giving you the lowdown on which surfers to pick. I'll also do some updates as the event runs, and we'll have loads of reviews and opinion coming up on the channel soon. So cheers, see you soon guys.